Here we have Laura. You can see the fingers are coming down a bit. You could afford to drop them a little bit more. You look forward every once in a while, but you see that you're getting your head down. When you go to breathe, you lift it up, which is kind of setting your balance off a bit, but you recover quite quickly afterwards. Here we have Virio. You'll notice here, Virio, what I was talking about with your legs. That when you go to breathe, you do lift your head up a bit, but for the most part, your legs are always kind of in the drag zone, just below your hips there. So if we get your legs up, and we start to get those fingertips pointing down instead of kind of rigid and forward, that you're going to get a lot more balance going for you, and it's going to get a lot easier to get across. Here we have Dina. Nice body line. We need to work on your catch. So right now you're pulling it a straight arm through here. A little bend on the one side, but here you can see that the elbow drops on this side. Okay, now we have Andy. Okay, Andy, you're reaching for the surface of the water here. And you see how that hand goes up? If we could just arc that down and get your eyes down a little bit. Everything else is doing really well. I'd like to see the kick a little tighter, but right now it's in a nice position, so very good. We got to work on timing of the stroke and just getting those hands down. Here we have Jolene. Okay, so we don't see your head. We do see that you have a downward slant to your body here, so everything is just slowly going in a line downwards, which is where all your drag's coming from. So as you enter in, you notice you're pulling in across your body. We're trying to get your elbows wider so that you can pull fingertips down to the bottom of the pool. So once we get your head down a bit, we're going to see a lot of changes. So we got Andy again. Here we're working on a high elbow return, which is going nice. Every once in a while you lift the hand, but you get nice recovery here. And you notice how much easier that looks. That's a hand lift there. And here you've got it mastered on this side. So you can see the splash as your hands go in. You want to try and get those fingers forward before you enter it in. Okay, overreaching here. So the elbows go in right there. So on the other side you got the elbow going in first. On this side you're just starting to get the hands in, but we need those fingers to enter the water just ahead of your head and not so far forward. What that's going to do is help you to get that head down a bit and get your body up against the surface of the water. Here we have Virio. You have a nice direction to your fingers. You're entering into the water near your head here, so that's really nice to see. You've got your head down. So everything as far as what you're working on is working. So it's nice to see that you're focusing on one thing at a time and you're mastering it before you move on. So there's very little splash here. So you're doing really well. When you get your head down, you notice it's not there anymore. We can barely see it at the water. And then you kind of lift it up when you go to breathe. So what that looks like under the water here is that you're nice and level right up to your hips. And it goes down. And when your head goes up for air, that it just kind of disappears a little bit. But other than that, the body line's nice. We just need to get your legs up. And then we'll start working on the underwater arm, where we'll get a little bit more catch going, a little bit more fingers down going. Here we have Dina. Notice that your hands are cupped when you go into the water and it causes a splash right there. Your elbows enter in either before or at the same time as your hand. So you're overextending and overreaching. So if we can get you to start entering the water closer to your head with your fingers more relaxed instead of pulled up into a fist, then we're going to see clean entry, no bubbles under the water. And with that entry closer to your head, it's going to help with your timing. So right here you can see that those elbows are forcing your hands in front of your head still. So the second the elbow drops, the hand extends in front of the head, and you got a splash. That splash is a braking motion that is resisting your forward momentum. So by getting a cleaner entry, you're not going to cause that braking action. You're going to enter in sooner so that your hip roll is attached to your arm entry, which is going to give you a lot more momentum here. A lot cleaner entry as well. So we worked on that. We're going to keep working on that. Now under the water. Now your arms are a little on the deep side. If we had the elbows wider and your hands not entering so much forward of your head, then you would be able to get that higher tempo on your tempo trainer. And you see the bubbles from that hand entry. Okay, so we have elbow lifting and entry, elbow lifting and entry. You're doing really good. You have some splash at the entry. So, but considering how new you are right now, you're doing so well. You're actually getting your fingertips going in first and your elbows staying high. So I gotta say that you're mastering the important part. Here you have a nice wide catch. You're not in front of your head. A little bit on this arm. The other arm stays wide. So again, arms we're not totally there yet. Once we get your legs straightened out, we're going to get those arms wider. And here we have Andy. And you can see the elbow coming up, and the hand is entering a little splashy. So again, we need to focus on getting the hand ready for entry in the right point. Make sure that you're not just pushing water forward when you enter into the water, that you're going down instead of forward. Nice low head. Okay, so here you can see there's very little in the drag area. Everything is right in behind you. Your hands are coming in front of your head, which is also preventing you from getting a better pull out to the side. So that wider track is definitely going to give you more power in the water. Okay, so you're flicking some water, so you're throwing water behind you. What we're looking for is more of a lift and more entry and roll. So your hips aren't involved in this, so that you're swimming more through the shoulders, which is where all of the strokes are coming from. So you're kind of doubling up your stroke volume here. So we can see your legs, so and parts of your chest and hips. So you can see the downward slope of your body is causing drag. And here we have Laura. You could afford to enter a little sooner here. You're getting good roll, but you notice how your head comes up when you go to breathe. It goes right back down, which is perfect. But if we could get you to relax your head on the breathing, then you're going to just be sailing straight through the water without that small brief break. Here we have you under the water, and notice a little bit in front of the head, but you get nice and wide on your catch and pull. And your legs are in behind you here. Every once in a while, one creeps into view. So part of that has to do with your hand coming in closer to the center line. So right there, hands in too close, legs out too